Did you know that October 10th was World Mental Health Day? And in honor of that, I really wanted to make my first YouTube video. I really wanted to talk about my mental health journey. For those of you who don't know, my name is Masliana Mukaga, but my friends call me Massey. I am bipolar. I'm really making this video because I really want to share my experiences and what it's like living with bipolar type 2. But in this video, I want to specifically talk about hypomania and what it feels like. If you Google hypomania, it is defined as a mild form of mania marked by elation and hyperactivity. Hypomania is looked at as like the high part or like the happy part of bipolar type 2. It isn't full-on psychosis like you would find in bipolar type 1, but it is a drastically boosted mood. I just want to state that it is not always enjoyable, just so you know. The best way for me to describe bipolar is, so like there's a baseline. I think that the baseline would be called euthymia, which is just like normal or neutral. I hate the word normal, but normal. So if you have like a normal neutral mood, then anything above that becomes mania and anything below that becomes depression. And also I feel like I should just state that there is levels to mania as well as levels to depression. Mental health really is a journey. And in my journey, I have learned that things like big changes or high stressful situations that occur in my life, or alcohol consumption, marijuana, are all things that have triggered me and sort of propelled me into hypomanic episodes. Personally, my mania starts off like a euphoric type mania, and then it sort of like changes and alters into something less pleasurable. With bipolar, you have episodes. So you have stages of euthymia, which is that neutral mood, but then depression and hypomania sprinkled in between. My depressive episodes sometimes feel like they last forever. Like I've experienced depression for like weeks or like even months. And like I said, there's stages to the depression, so it's not always low, but it's not a good feeling ever. So my depressive episodes are randomly interrupted by days, maybe weeks of hypomanic behavior. When this happens, it usually feels so good because I've been so depressed for so long that any boost in a mood just, you feel on top of the world and it's just indescribable. But if I had to describe it, I think back to like being a kid. So Christmas is my favorite holiday, is my favorite holiday. And Christmas Eve, that feeling that you had on Christmas Eve, just before you had to go to bed and you're like, I don't want to sleep, I want to stay up and I'm so excited and is Santa gonna come and bring me everything I wanted? And you have that restless feeling inside of you and you just are so happy and excited and giddy. You just can't even control the emotions that are running through you because you can't wait for the next day. That is what it feels like. But it feels like that for like really essentially no reason at all. I feel like pure bliss, joyful, cheerful, carefree, optimistic, just everything is better. Music is better. And I like listening to my music like turned all the way up loud. I'm dancing, I'm lively. I want to be outside and I just want to experience things, and I'm walking my dogs all of a sudden all the time. They love it because, you know, dogs feel things. So my dog knows when I'm depressed and they know when I'm probably in a better mood. So they are happier. Just everything feels better, really. I become a lot more sociable. And just like that, poof, that social anxiety, she's gone, honey. I'm out of my head and I like just feel so much more confident. Everyone around me is funnier. I feel like I'm funnier. I swear I feel like I'm like a comedian. I just feel like all my jokes land. Can't stop, won't stop type feeling. So I'm so out of my head, if that makes sense, that whatever lands in my head, I just say. And it feels good when the response you get is a positive one. You're just like, I really am. I feel like my childlike spirit and wonder comes back. I feel playful again. Depression feels like winter and hypomania feels like summer. So when I'm hypomanic, writing is just so cathartic to me, and it's just so fun to write because it just feels like a release and it feels so good. And also words just come to me easily. I guess I'm just so out of my head and just not overthinking anything, and I'm just letting go and letting flow, and yeah, it's an awesome feeling. When I'm hypomanic, sleep is non-existent. I can think of times where I've gone like 48 hours with like 1 or 2 hours of sleep max and still had so much energy the next day. It's just really unbelievable. I feel like I can't sleep because there's so much to do, and if I fall asleep, I'm never gonna get any of it done, and I finally have the energy to do it, so I'm gonna do it now. And it's like, you know, there's no better time than the present. That's what it feels like. Like I can't think about doing this tomorrow because I have the time right now and the energy to do it right now, so I'm doing it. Doesn't matter if it's 6 a.m., doesn't matter if it's 7 a.m., doesn't matter if I haven't slept in a whole day, a whole 24 hours. Like, I'm gonna get done right now because I want to. This is so different than when you're depressed, because when you're depressed, it honestly feels like you have no energy. Like everything, like life is just sucked right out of you. And I feel like when I'm depressed, I get in this cycle of sleep, eat, work, repeat. And it's just this vicious cycle. It just goes round and round. And this is when usually I gain weight because I just don't have the energy to take care of myself the way I want to. I feel so tired and so drained that I'm just gonna eat whatever is readily convenient. So whether I go into the pantry and I'm eating cookies for breakfast, because that's what I found in the pantry, like I'm gonna eat cookies for breakfast. Because I really don't care either. I'm so depressed, my thoughts are so dark and they're just going that I'm just like, whatever. Who cares if I eat cookies? Because really, I don't care about myself. When I'm depressed, I wanna sleep all the time. When I'm hypomanic, I don't wanna sleep. When I'm depressed, I tend to overeat and eat really bad food for me because I just don't have the energy to even care. When I'm hypomanic, I barely eat. And when I do eat, it's like a little snack or something because I'm not really hungry. My hunger goes away. So like if say I ate like an apple or something, that really satiates me and I'm good for maybe even the rest of the day. During these hypomanic episodes is when I come out of my shell and I am wanting to reconnect with people. So I'm answering text messages, I'm talking on the phone day and night, I'm just more involved in other people's lives. I want to reconnect and connect with people because when I'm depressed, I feel so detached from everything and everyone. I want to share and I just want to tell everyone all the creative things that I've been thinking of doing and the ideas that are coming to my mind and, you know, feel like I'm a part of something again. I want to leave the house more. I tend to spend my money freely when I'm in a hypomanic state. I'll do things like if I go out to eat and there's like a $20 bill, I'll tip the waitress like $100. Or I will invest in a risky stock that I probably know nothing about or have done no research on. This is when I start sharing more on social media. So you'll notice that I'll be posting more. My posts will be more personal and longer. I feel so good that I almost can't believe that I was really that depressed. It's like, I almost like second guess myself. Like, am I just being dramatic or was I really just suicidal last week? It just feels like such a distant memory because I just feel so elated and elevated. Like I said, it just feels like so distant because in this moment I'm creative and I'm socializing and I'm talkative and I'm just really having a blast in the time of my life. So it's like, how could I have been that low? When I'm hypomanic, I am so creative and I just want to create. And I like creating things. It makes me feel so good. So this is really my favorite part of hypomania, really, because some of the things that I have created when I am in this state, I look back now and I'm like, wow, it's pretty dope. For me personally, euphoria probably lasts about 2 to 4 days, give or take. So remember how I said that it's not always so pleasant? Well, when I come down from this euphoric manic state, it's almost like I go into this like uncomfortable place. This is when anxiety tends to rear its ugly head. And then I start getting that voice back in my head that tells me I'm not good enough. The voice that says, you're talking way too much. Nobody cares. Stop sharing so much. Nobody wants to know what you have to say. I get like paranoid. I start to disappear and withdraw because I just feel so much shame and embarrassment that I almost was so vulnerable and open and just like shared that much of myself. And that voice is telling me like that I should feel that way. Like you should feel embarrassed. You should feel shameful because nobody ever wanted to know any of that and nobody really cares. So yeah, so I'm not euphoric manic anymore and I'm coming down off of that. This is when the depression starts to come back also. I want to hide from the world and avoidance becomes my middle name. I still have energy, but I feel restless at the same time. Almost like I feel like I have brain fog and I can't focus or think and I can't make a decision to save my life. I feel distressed and self-doubt, all of it, all the feels. I have experienced episodes where I feel depressed, but I also feel hypomanic. So I feel symptoms of both. It's almost like they collide into this weird mixed episode. And these episodes they're not it, sis. I didn't know it at the time, but now that I think back, my suicide attempt was definitely during one of these mixed episodes. Here's why it can be the most dangerous state. Because you have your depressive thoughts and feelings, but then you also have your hypomanic energy. So when you like kind of mix those two together, it almost becomes like your suicidal thoughts finally have the energy to follow through. Thinking back, anytime I've ever really tried to self-harm was definitely during one of these states. I'm in these mixed states. I feel so irritated and argumentative and combative and just nothing's funny. Everything is very serious. I can't joke anymore. I don't take anything lightly. I'm so distressed and leaving the house is just too big of a task. In these mixed episodes, I tend to close myself off from friends, family, my boyfriend, just anyone and everyone. It's super hard for a new person in my life to try to get to know me during these states because I'm just completely closed off. Like, good luck. I'm not available emotionally to nurture a relationship. I'm completely detached. And I almost want to just like hold my cards close to my chest and just not let anyone in. Part of the reason why I'm so closed off to people during this date is because I know that my rage is going to be misplaced and I can't handle feeling any worse than I already do. Because I know that it's not anyone's fault and it's just what I'm dealing with, and I just will feel really like a really bad person if I lash out on someone. So I just stay quiet. Then to the outside world, I just seem cold, distant, detached, and just not like a pleasant person. Especially if you don't know me, you would think that of me, because the people who have gotten to know me know that like there's the other side of me where, you know, the baseline side where I am not having an episode, or the manic side, which is very fun to be around, I'm not gonna lie. Then like once I get into this mixed state where I'm just irritable and I can't deal with anything, I am so withdrawn that it might come across like I'm cold and I think I'm better than everyone, but I'm not, and I don't. So when I swing into these mixed states, it's so heartbreaking because I just lose, I feel nothing. It is so hard for me to connect with myself, let alone the universe, when I'm like that. But then everything I enjoy, like writing and singing and dancing, everything, going outside, taking my dogs for a walk, is just ripped right from under me. Everything stops. Everything. I have no desire to talk to anyone or be around anyone. So much intense energy rushing through me. I want to scream. It is very easy for me to identify when I am in a depressive episode, but it is not so easy for me to realize when I am in a hypomanic episode. Or even maybe a mixed episode, because I've kind of lost sight on like what my baseline is and how it feels to be neutral. I've only ever been able to recognize twice in my life when I've been going through a hypomanic episode. Once was the first time last spring, I want to say, was the first time. And then the second time was just a couple weeks ago. Typically when I'm going through episodes, my family members or my boyfriend will be like, hey, like, you're not sleeping again. Or, hey, like, you're kind of scattered right now. In the past, I really put on my rose-colored glasses and just been like, so closed off to the thought that I could even be hypomanic, because I just wanted to hold on to that good, happy feeling. And I just don't want it to be jaded by you're going through an episode. I just want to be happy, you know? I'll tend to hold on to that feeling because it's been so long since I felt good feelings, because usually it's after a depressive episode. I was diagnosed back in 2017 because my sisters noticed a drastic change in my mood. I had gone through a mixed episode where I tried to commit suicide. It was a very low point in my life, and I came out of it on the other end after going on a retreat and really like doing the shadow work and focusing on myself, to a week later being so full of life, so excited for life, so ready to take back control of my life. And I was very talkative. Mind you, a week before I had been very low and quiet and just sad because of my failed suicide attempt, to then a week later just feeling on top of the world, just wanting to connect and talk to my sisters and just share with them all the exciting things I had planned for my future. And I didn't realize that there was such a big disconnect until they said something. It was very tough to be told that I wasn't acting right, when I just thought, no guys, I'm just happy. Like, can we just finally let me be happy? I've gone through so much and I'm finally happy, and you guys aren't happy that I'm happy. How selfish can you guys be? Now I know that they were just trying to look out for me, and it was in my best interest, because it was very unhealthy. It's not healthy to be depressed one week to the point where you want to kill yourself, to super full of life the next week and wanting to make plans for your future. There's just a huge disconnect there that my brain wasn't able to make. So I was sent to go talk to a psychiatrist, and after being assessed for hours, I was diagnosed with bipolar type 2. There's obviously way more to this story, and maybe I can get into it further in another video. So bipolar type 2 can be very hard to diagnose because people tend to only get help when they're feeling very low. It's almost like myself, you lack the self-realization to see that you can't go from extremely sad to extremely happy in a week's time. I just want to state that I am not a doctor and I'm not trying to self-diagnose anyone. All I'm trying to say is that if any of this is striking a nerve with you or kind of seems familiar, I would start by purchasing a mood journal and just start tracking your mood. I will put a link below on a really good mood journal. I made the very hard and personal choice to go off my medication because I really didn't like the way it was making me feel. Mind you, there's not just a magic pill that you can take and it's just gonna fix everything. Everything is just about trial and error, and I have been experiencing very hard times lately, and I don't know if being unmedicated is worth it. I'm just trying to do the best I can with the tools that I have. Recently I read somewhere, it said, when we share our stories, the healing is contagious. Recover like someone else's life depends on it. That really hits home. Even though I'm very scared and I don't know how it's going to be received, I just really wanted to shed some light on my experiences. The stigma that we put on mental health is false. It doesn't mean you're crazy. It just means that there's a chemical imbalance in your brain, and that's okay. Thanks for watching. XOXO.